If you've never heard of foreigner on foreigner hate in Japan, it's actually way more common than you think. In Japan, there's something called top gaijin, which is like a person who thinks that they're the most Japanese or they know the most about Japanese culture or language or whatever. Let's say that there's someone called Jealous Jane. She thinks she speaks Japanese way better than she actually does, and she's living a pretty average life here in the country. And there is Goofy Greg, who wants to open up a bike shop slash cafe, which is more common here in Japan than you think. When someone asks for a recommendation for a bike shop slash cafe, whatever, Jealous Jane will not comment, "Oh, I suggest you should go to XYZ bike shop." She actually goes out of her way to say, "Don't go to Goofy Greg's bike shop slash cafe." Even though Jealous Jane has never run a business in her life and all she does is teach like English online 5 days a week, it's never occurred to her how hard it is to run a business in a foreign country. And the weirdest part of this story is that the locals, the local Japanese people, like the bike shop. They leave positive comments and actually go and buy stuff. This story is everywhere and it is ridiculous. People even do it to me. Happens to stores, hot sauce, car dealership, food trucks, that's a big one for some reason, restaurants, and even mango farmers, for Pete's sake. You would think people like Jealous Jane would be supportive of each other because you're living in a foreign country. A lot of people are alone, but for some reason, Western people, there is no desire to help each other. There's only the desire to bring each other down. Let me give you an example that kind of shows the backwardsness of this. The people giving hate think they're giving hate to a foreigner, but is actually for a person that was born and raised in Japan. In other words, he is a native Japanese speaker. He just happens to look 100% white because he is. This guy is pretty cool. I really like his channel and I recommend you go watch it. It's called Joshua's Japan channel. There'll be a link if you want to go check it out. So for example, he posted a reel, he's speaking in Japanese, there's English subtitles so people who don't know Japanese can understand what he's saying. There's a comment that says white boy behavior. Guy born and raised in Japan has white boy behavior. He's white, I don't know what that means.
What's the matter with you?
Another person commented, "You will never be Japanese, hashtag gaijin." A clearly not Japanese person commented that not native, you're trying to sound native, but that's your ego, thinking you're better than a natural born Japanese person. Very strange. And he even comments, he was born and raised in Japan, went to public Japanese school. Psychologically fascinating. This is one of my favorites. Another white guy showing the world how better he is than other white guys because he speaks Japanese fluently. Typical gaijin. And then he responds like, what? Like, I don't even know if these people live in Japan and are commenting on his videos, my videos, other people's videos, but there's this hate, there's this weird competition that is among all these people and they don't help each other. They're like crabs in a bucket. So how does this even relate to Okinawan longevity? So what I always talk about is social connections. Social connections is like the top contributor to longevity and a long, healthy, happy life. I love hanging out with my Japanese friends, but I do want to hang out with like other, like, it doesn't have to be American, it could be European or whatever. I like to hang out with all these people, but when a certain amount of people are just leaving hate comments all the time, you feel social isolation. So that can kind of lead to depression. I have another video where I talk about my time having depression in Japan and how it affected my life. And one of the reasons for that depression was loneliness. I was super lonely. This is one of the reasons that I'm talking about today. If you have an experience in Japan that is very similar to what I talked about today, please leave a comment, tell me your story. And if you want to leave a hateful comment, that is fine as well. I find them psychologically fascinating.